Sometimes that call is issued in a different way. We're living our life, we're going about doing our thing, and someone else says to us, it's time to go. And so just like for Andrew, Andrew was living his life as a disciple of John and heard the call and said, yes, I will leave the ministry that John is doing and I will follow you, Rabbi. You are the Son of God. For some, it's a matter of a passionate mission, where we see that the thing that's going on, the movement that's happening, is a movement that we need to be a part of. And so Matthew, in some ways, as we read the book of Matthew and Mark, we see his answering the call. And it becomes a passion, the kind of passion where he actually leaves all that he was doing and is committed to this Christ. Sometimes it's a movement that we follow because others have introduced us to it. Maybe you can figure out what category you fit in that's been a part of your following of Jesus. Do you follow Jesus because someone else introduced you to him and you said, yes, I believe he's the one? Maybe you follow Jesus because you heard about this man and the work and the miracles and signs and wonders and you said, yes, I feel passionate about doing that thing of being a Christian. Maybe you are a Christian because Christ in some way touched you. And in that way you heard his voice saying, come and follow. The conversation happened and Jesus invited the disciples to follow him. The conversation happened in which Jesus said to his disciples, you will see great things. That's part of the conversation we see here in John chapter 1 and these verses. And with Nathanael in particular, it was, come and follow me. And in that conversation, well, you are the one. You're the Son of God. How do you know me? Because I saw you sitting under a fig tree. Well, you believe just because I saw you sitting under a fig tree. If you think that's great, if you think that's miraculous, if you think that's wonderful, just wait. Follow me. You'll see even greater things. I believe that conversation that he had with Nathanael and the disciples has been true. Not only then, I believe I've experienced it and seen it in my own life. Once you begin to follow Jesus, the risen Savior, you will see miracles, signs, and wonders. You will see and experience things that you simply cannot explain. It will be much more miraculous, and there will be experiences where you know it must be God, because it can't be anything else, can't be anyone else. You know because there is no explanation, and because it is the work that is holy and sacred, and it's a movement. Sometimes you know because the signs are simply too clear. I want to tell you about a kid. He was a kid then, at least when I knew him. And I used to call him, and I still do, Miracle Man. And I call him Miracle Man because of the experiences he's had in his life. When he was a 2-year-old, I heard his family talk about him being in the car with a third of the family. He wasn't strapped in the car. There was an accident, and he flew out of the car, hit a tree at full force, and landed beside that tree. He got up without a scratch. When he was 10 or 12, a second near-fatal car accident, he walked away. When he was 17, and I entered and began to know him, on one occasion, as a 17-year-old, he'd gotten his license, he was riding a motorcycle, and I was behind him in traffic and saw him slam headfirst into a car. I saw the impact. Like other people, I pulled over. We looked at him. He was laying on the ground. I got to where he was, and others were standing there. His eyes open. He looks around. He jumps up, and he says, well, I guess the bike's no good, but I got to go. And there he is at the scene of the accident walking around. They come and they check him out, they take him to the hospital, and they find that the worst that he has are bruises. No broken bones, No serious injuries. That's when I began to call him Miracle Man. I say, God spared you, or you lived through one. That may be coincidence. You lived through two, and that's getting hard to explain. You lived through three, and I saw you hit that car. You're a miracle man, and I don't care what else you say. And I began to say to him, God is sparing you for a reason. It is time to do something with your life, and it's time to start listening. You don't walk away from three like that by coincidence. You need to begin listening, because God is trying to tell you something. He had a hard time hearing me, and he didn't listen so well. 2 years later, having gone into a lot of things he had no business in, I remember the night. It was about 2:30 in the morning when the phone rang. And it was emergency medical services saying, we have a member of your congregation who's asking for you. We'll be at the hospital with him in just a few minutes. I arrived at the hospital to find that he'd been a part of a drug deal that went bad. And he'd been shot with an automatic weapon multiple times. When I got to him in the emergency room, all the folks could say, and all he could say was, say whatever final prayers are said over a person who's going to die. That's all he could really get out. His family was gathering, and basically with his family and the doctors, we all understood he had been shot so many times and in such vital places, he was not going to live the night. That's what we thought. He lived through that night. He lived through that month. He lived through that year. He went through physical therapy. He went through speech therapy. He had bullets that they couldn't remove. I continued to say to the congregation and to him, God is telling you something. And on the day that he walked through the doors of the church, sat down, sang the hymns as if he'd never been impaired, walked as if he'd never been impaired, I said, God is speaking. Are you listening? I think what Jesus said to the disciples is still true today. You're impressed, he said, because I saw you under a fig tree. You'll see even greater things. When we are following Jesus and watching and listening, there are signs and wonders. Some of those signs and wonders are very simple. Hardened hearts that become filled with grace and soften. Some of those are doctors who are amazed because they know that what happened was not a result of their skill set. I will never forget walking out of Potomac Hospital, having started the day with prayer with a patient and the doctor having joined in. And the doctor saying, this is a very, very difficult surgery, and we don't expect a lot from it. We just expect to fix a few things. He did his surgery. He and I were leaving Potomac Hospital at the same time, and he stopped me, and he said, Pastor, I want you to know this. Not only was the surgery successful, we have completely been able to address every issue she had.